Hello YouTube, we are back with another Stella Sora video, and this one is mainly to just talk about should you start Stella Sora in the big year of 2026. I know in 2025 there were a lot of videos from other CCs as well, critiquing the game, its gacha system, etc. But I just wanted to put out a video and see, if the game is still worth playing. And as someone who has been playing, I know I'm energy cap right now, but okay, I'll be honest, I have been busy with a certain factory game recently, but this is a game that myself as well as my girlfriend love playing, especially right before we just go to sleep because it's actually that quick. So one of the biggest things I think for a lot of people is how long does Stella Sora take in terms of an investment of time on a day-to-day basis, right? Stella Sora genuinely is a game where you can hop in and be done with your dailies, done with everything extremely quick. You can burn your energy just like this is literally how fast you could burn your energy for a day if you just want to be like done, at least in terms of energy, right? You can just let's see here. Let's how about we let's do a little bit of this and then this and done. And boom, you're done with all of your energy, right? It's one of those games that actually has a nice, sweep function, which is something that I think every game should have at a certain point, right? Like you don't want to manually have to do everything. The rest of the dailies is you can literally, one of the dailies is just click on the character in the main lobby. Boom, there we go. Right, click random reward in the shop. And boom, there's another one, just like that. And yeah, last one. What about? I mean, this batch. This is just stuff you have to do anyways, right? Every day. This is just a boom. Skip. Boom. Dispatch again. And just like that. And you're done. That's how quick a daily is, right? Like, if I didn't stall a little bit to explain a couple things, that could have been like less than 2 minutes. You could just be done with your entire dailies. You sweep through, burn all your energy, and you're done just like that. Obviously, weeklies, weeklies will build up as you play the game. Very, very simple. So in terms of time investment, I think Stella Sora is one of those games that you really don't need to put that much investment in. You're going to be done with this game very, very quickly in terms of daily chores that you feel like you might have to do. Now, what else does this game offer in terms of gameplay that might interest people, right? I think one of the most exciting things in Stella Sora is the bosses, the boss fights, the boss rush, right? Now, there is boss blitz here, which does rotate, and, I'd like to proudly say that I am in the top 10% here. I kind of slacked. I guess I should increase my score a little bit. I used to be top 800. Looks like I went down a little bit. But these boss fights can be very, very exciting. I was playing with the new Firen's character as well. And then here we got the Fuyuka team that I love playing as well, right? These teams are... and the bosses, the interactions with them can be very, very exciting. And specifically, there are different bosses, different, I guess, sort of shill bosses for certain types of builds as well. So like my Fuyuka herself has a skill build as well as an ultimate build. And that's kind of like the gameplay loop, right? You do these things called ascensions, where you essentially take your characters out for a run and basically go through a bit of a roguelite game mode in which you get these things called records. And you essentially use these records to then combat other game modes, whether it's dailies, like very easy daily dungeons, stuff like that, weekly bosses, or even things like the boss blitz that we mentioned earlier. Now, they do often come out with separate modes that are on top of the boss blitz that are kind of like boss blitz in its own way, that are like sort of like raid bosses, if you think of it like in other games like Blue Archive. You might have, for anyone who has played that game. And it's kind of like that, where a boss will be released, there will be multiple difficulties, and then you want to attempt it with maybe 1 or 2 teams, and then see how high you get in the rankings and get rewards based on that. Now, that's my favorite mode. On top of that, Stella Sora has pretty good mini games. So I haven't played this one yet. I have played it on my girlfriend's account, just because I do help a little bit on her account, but the tower defense game, this is not the first time it's been out, if I recall. There's been multiple tower defense games. Very, very fun. Every event that comes out as well has their own mini games as well, right? I'm gonna be honest, the Lucky Treasure Shovel I don't really care for. It's kind of very simple. You kind of get through it really quickly. But there have been music, like rhythm games that they've had. They've had I'm blanking here. There's been like 3-4 events already, so I kind of don't remember. But they're usually pretty fun events, and they don't really take that much time. And generally, a lot of the mini games, you can kind of blast through 90% of it, and then there's a little bit of time gating on some of the older missions, or harder missions, or later missions. So doesn't really involve that much, and you get all the things. And you know what the best part of these are, right? The best part of these events and mini games that they release is that all of it is to give you this currency, right, for the shop. Now ignore my shop. I didn't get to finish that. Anyways, right, the big thing is that every single one of these patch events pretty much has a special event disc, right? That is like pretty much some of the best discs you'll have for your character, especially as a free-to-play. If you're not pulling for a SIG, right? This is gonna be probably one of your best options. And the best part is they give you enough dupes to just max it out, right? So just the base attack on these discs are gonna be amazing. So definitely another great part about the game is that it basically just gives you free weapons, right? And not only from that, right? If you just look into these other shops, from doing Cataclysm, Survivor, from Finale Echoing. This is specifically from the other boss mode that I mentioned earlier, right? There's other discs here as well. And a lot of the discs you get in this game are very, very attainable just from playing the game, right? Without having to do any gacha. So that's a great thing as well. And on top of that, I think the story for this game is pretty decent. I'll admit, I haven't read it all. I've read bits and pieces, and yeah, it seems pretty decent. And the future characters that we have coming out, I think, look pretty interesting. There was a character shown at the end of this story as well, a little silhouette that you can see. It makes you really wonder who we'll get next. So, all in all, I feel like in terms of game modes, there's plenty of variety for Stella Sora enjoyers to like actually, you know, if you wanted to invest a little time, play. Now, if you're a bit of a sweat, there's the other modes like the extra boss mode that I talked about, right? I actually have I should have yeah, here we go. I have the title for the last one. And then beyond that, if anybody here, I guess, played the game before, there was a Nazuka boss. Not Nazuka, Nanoha boss, right? This girl right here, Nanoha. Where is she? Yeah, Nanoha. This is actually a pretty fun mode. It's similar to other boss events, I think, in other gacha games, where you get to basically decide the parameters of how hard the boss will be for you. You can make it tankier, you can make it so that you get certain buffs, but there's also trade-offs with debuffs and stuff like that. And basically, you want to see how far you can push it. And honestly, the mechanics for the bosses, it's not that easy, right? Not trying to slander my girlfriend here. She's amazing at the game, but she was having a little bit of difficulty on mobile beating the 100 difficulty Nanoha on that boss. And I had to buckle up and show her how it was done. I failed like 5 times, but we got it done at the end. And I think game modes like that where you can basically show your full skill expression, even on a game like this, where the controls aren't that deep, but there are mechanics like, for example, right, Ultimate Fuyuka. In the Ultimate Fuyuka team, you specifically want to have certain rotations of skills and ultimates, and then you want to only use an ultimate after you get a certain amount of stacks from Flora. And so there's it's not just Unga Bunga as everybody thinks. There is very precise execution on all these skills and ultimates that you want to get for, right? And then in terms of if you really want to sweat and get into the nitty gritty, there's specific stats you want to hunt for, right? You want to look for things like charge efficiency for your supports so that you can, in maybe one break phase, have your ultimates ready, right? And this is where the min-maxing really comes in. Now, some people might not really like this gearing system, but I think at the end of the day, it gives something to play towards. It's very similar to the Nikkei gearing system, I think. So basically the way it works is that you roll, and then from what you rolled, you basically can lock stuff, right? So if I were to reforge this, right, and let's say I had something here I could use these things called star emblem polishers, which the game gives you plenty of if you do the events, right, to lock something and re-roll it. Let's actually see if I get anything good here. Bolt challenge isn't like awful, but and Iron Fist Blow, I don't think. Actually, I don't think that's terrible. I'll just hold on to that. But basically, that's the idea, right? And let's say, like, for instance, this one, right? I got to this one because I had locked the Ignis pen and kept rolling. This is a pretty solid one. Now, it's not the best for ultimate. It has ult damage, but this has main skill level up. I think ultimate level up would have been better. But it has gold Ignis pen. Obviously, rainbow Ignis pen would be amazing. But it gives a little bit of endgame. Now, all that said, why am I saying all this? I think the game is extremely casual friendly. And then for a casual player, you can play, just hop on. Again, like my girlfriend, just hop on, burn your energy, finish the event quest, play a little bit of mini games, and you're done, right? But if you're also someone that wants to do all that, but also sweat, there's avenues for that, right? With the multitudes of boss events that they rotate through. Very, very fun. And the main core of the gameplay loop that I brushed upon earlier is the roguelite building, right? With the ascension system, right? With the records. And similar to other games, right? Games like CZN, I guess I can't really think of any other game besides CZN right now, but you kind of just have to go through this whole system and fight through it all. But what sets it apart is that there are these things that you get a lot of. I have 53 of them left right here. These are monolith stair passes, right? And by using this, you essentially can just skip the entire, just system of having to battle through each floor and can kind of just immediately build your whole team, right? So like, for example, if I just do a quick little example here, right? You set your character, set your disc, and look at that. You don't have to do any battles. All you are going to be doing is clicking what stuff you need, and then that's it, right? I don't remember what she needs on this. I'm going to be honest. Maybe it was Phantom Mark. But like, you get that, discs, you get the potentials, you get the notes, and you basically go on. That's pretty much how this is pretty much how it works, right? And it's very, very, very simple. I kind of have to sandbag here a little so I can get out. Give me a second. Yo, let me out. Let me out. I don't think it's gonna let me out until I have to get to okay, here we go. There we go. Just give up. Boom. I just burned a freaking ticket for you guys. Anyways, so it's that easy to get a save record. Now, obviously, you know, if you run out of these, you have to go through them manually. But honestly, it's very, very quick. Like, for comparison, if a CZN, a full run through a chaos can take you 40-45 minutes. I guess for a tryhard, they might go way faster than that, maybe 30 or less. But like, realistically, it takes quite a while. This, you can be done very, very quickly. So it's very, very easy and very, very intuitive. Now, I think the one thing that might hold back Stella Sora is, I think, the amount of resources available out there are very few and far between, but there are very good resources. I think one of my favorite resources to use, at least on the global side, is going to be there is an amazing CC named Maggie, right? Specifically, that very often. Okay, well, there's a lot of factory stuff here, but if you go down here, she does a lot of calcs specifically on builds, discs potentials, which potentials to look for, emblems, all of that stuff. So honestly, if you are looking to get into Stella Sora now, I would definitely drop Maggie a follow here. She is very, very on top of the character releases. I believe she does like very, very long streams on the release days of the characters and builds and theory crafts it on stream. So definitely look out for that. I know there are a lot of people on JP Twitter as well that have pretty interesting builds as well. But from what I can see, there aren't really like a multitude of websites for people to use. So definitely a little bit of a, I guess, a hindrance. But if you find the right sources, I think they are very, very reliable. And yeah, that is Stella Sora in 2026. I think it had a bit of a rocky start, but I think it's doing fairly well. In terms of precedence, I guess the developers have set, right? If people don't know, there's a character called Shia. This is her. Holy moly, look at her giant tits. Like, she is extremely good to a fault. Honestly, too good. She is so good that end-game players just run her, not even on bosses that are weak to her element. They just run her because she's just that strong. And the developers could have easily nerfed her, right? And balanced the game. But the developers basically saw how many people liked her and invested in her and basically just said that they are not going to nerf her. Now, I will say, I think the best time to probably get into Stella Sora is to probably wait for a Shia rerun or a Fuyuka rerun, because I think both of them are absolutely busted. But definitely still a great time to hop in. Now, I think the next characters we might be getting, this is just me speculating, might be Ventus, because Ventus really is lacking a hyper carry. Right now, Nezuka is very strong, but most people are just using Canis main or Nanoha main, which both like aren't the greatest, you know? So I would not be surprised if we get a Ventus main soon. We might get a Terra, like an additional Terra character as well, because I don't think we've had anything for a while for Terra, and maybe for Aqua as well, because yeah, frankly, I don't know how many people play Chitose. There isn't really content for Chitose. I don't think I've even seen a boss blitz where there was an Aqua weakness. So, but that's gonna be it, chat. I said chat. That's gonna be it, YouTube. I think Stella Sora is a very fun game. Right, this is a game that I have stuck with, and now you can say it might be because my girlfriend enjoys it, but it's a game I've stuck with for all the controversies that it was going through, and I really thought that the gameplay and how fun it is to play makes up for the fact that it might be, you know, maybe the gacha isn't the greatest out there, right? And I think that's just something that people need to understand, that I think there are a lot of people out there that play games for how fun the game actually is, right? Now, would it be nice if the monetization was a little bit better? Oh, for sure, 100% I agree. But I think the gameplay and the game loop is casual enough and free to play enough that it's not like a make or break situation, right? I definitely do believe that I'm not the biggest fan of the multiple loss 50-50 system. I'm not really crazy about that, but it is what it is. And at the end of the day, I think the gameplay makes up for it, right? Now, there are other modes that I didn't really brush up on besides the boss blitz and stuff like that. I kind of mainly hit the ones that I think are the most fun. Obviously, there are things like Menace Arena, right? I have not made that much progress on this because I don't care for it. There's also Cataclysm Survivor, which is basically like a Vampire Survivor. My main gripe with this mode is that it doesn't have, you can't like dodge in it, but like it's not that bad. There's like its own, like, it's like Vampire Survivor, very much like Vampire Survivor, where it has its own buffs and you collect the buffs and you like strengthen yourself. And you kind of need to do this because you get Defender medals, which again, if you didn't see earlier, you use Defender medals to buy stuff here, which are free discs. So I should do that. I'm just a bum, and yeah. So there are a lot of modes that are very, very exciting, very, very fun, kind of different cup of teas for everybody from casuals to hardcore players. And like you can see here earlier, right, there is a boss blitz with rankings, right? So if you are someone that wants to chase rankings, is very, very nice. And I'll say this, okay? The NA audience for, I think, Stella Sora is very small. So if you play on NA, I ain't gonna lie, I think getting top 10% is very easy. Now, if you're on JP, I think good luck. Good fucking luck, man. There's so many people playing on JP that I think that's gonna be really hard. But yeah, YouTube, that's gonna be it. I really think Stella Sora is a game worth looking to for a side game to enjoy. Doesn't really require much time investment, doesn't really require, honestly, money. Like, I think it's pretty free to play and friendly. Now, I do think there are certain characters that you really do want because they're pretty good, but they're not on rate up right now anyways. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you had any, you know, comments, critique, or anything like that, just leave it in the comments down below. I kind of do really hope more people try this game. I think it was a game that was kind of thrown under the bus quite heavily on its launch, which a lot of it was reasonable due to the gacha monetization. But, you know, I feel like the gameplay is actually very exciting. And, you know, hey, even M-Tashed came back and gave it a try and changed his mind somewhat. I don't know. I don't really know how DB got on to do it, but hey, if M-Tash could change his mind, maybe some of you can as well. So if you're looking for a fun, casual, easy, quick to play gacha game in 2026, right? Hey, this is Stella Sora is a great option that you should check out. Yeah, and there should be a link in the comments down below if you guys want to check it out. And thank you guys. That's gonna do it for us here today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.